Today's book is Beginning Anew by Sister Chen Khong, and I'm giving it 4 stars. What I love about this book is it is about loving communication in the context of mindfulness, and the way that she describes it is just flat out unique. But first, a little shout out gratitude. You know, it's so fascinating. I knew nothing about this book, and literally yesterday on my feed, Self-Scription, I'm gonna tag him below, was talking about a love mantra as relates to communication, interacting with others. Let's get into it. 3 things. The first is that this idea of love and communication is really quite hard. You might work a lifetime to get to it. And the idea is that some people think, oh, I'm just gonna express my love. I'm just gonna force my love. But you can't force someone to eat. Love and communication isn't that. It's also not wait until you're desperate for it to get it. It's actually more of this flowing constant. And it's this beautiful way that she describes it, I think, that makes this book so approachable. Now, the second thing has to do with this concept about being unskillful in loving communication. And this is important because it indicates that there's all these little sub-skills that we're gonna learn throughout this beautiful lifetime that we have. And if you're unskillful, you want to think about it in 2 ways. You want to think about your own evolution, and when you're communicating outwardly, you also want to think about it from a listening perspective. Am I skilled at listening? Also, is the person that is talking to me, are they maybe on their own journey, and so as a result, I'm reacting to something that they might not yet have as a skill, and I need to be patient and compassionate with that. And then what do I do to communicate a different way to communicate with me? When I get hurt by the things that are said, or when I get hurt by the expressions, the micro expressions that happen, I think it's beautiful how she describes this. Third thing really has to do with this concept of being gentle on yourself. And that is why I think what she's saying about skillful versus unskillful is so profound. You know, when we talk about it that way, it's not a permanent state. We know what we can do about being unskillful. We just skill up, and we don't have to do it right away. We can do it in our own time, in our own way, on our own journey. Same thing with how we address it in others, in their own time, in their own way, when it is appropriate to them. Got it? Very cool. But I also think underlying this concept is the power of words, whether you say them to other people and manifest it, or whether you say it to yourself, even worse, because you can say it to yourself quietly and not even realize that you're manifesting this energy. That's all in there is really beautiful. Now, a last little note that I was thinking about after I read it, if you're early on this journey, find someone who also wants to read this book with you and evolve in this journey, or find someone you just think is much farther along in their compassionate, loving communication journey, because I do think this is hard if you just immediately try to start practicing it. I'm lucky to have 2 beautiful women, Mintu Vaughn and Annie Eng, who are extremely higher power and have taught me what I needed to start on this path. But even then, I got a lot of work to do, and I have to pick my spots too, and when I can actually handle what it means to lovingly communicate with someone who don't feel that way. Speed reading stats, this book is 79 pages. I read it in 13 minutes, but I'm thinking about it a lot more than that. I want to thank everyone for liking, following, sharing, commenting, sending me books, whatever it is. And I also want to give another shout out to the New York Public Library. Would not be able to do this without you. If you have access to a public library but have not visited it in a while, I would highly recommend it. It's one of the greatest resources we have if you're watching here in the US.